everybody, Jacqui here with Kelly from College Recruiting Specialist. Hi Kelly.
Hi Jacqui.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well today.
Good.
So when, navigating the path to college and finding the right one and getting in and making that process smooth is a minefield.
Absolutely.
And an even different minefield is doing that when you're considering sports, because sports in college are almost like two colleges in one. That sport is a very big commitment.
Absolutely.
So how do parents help their kids, navigate that and continue their sport in college?
Well, there are so many misconceptions about what it takes. Oftentimes, people feel like, oh, my kid's a great athlete. They're setting records, they're in the weekly newspaper, and yet they're not getting recruited. And that's very, very common. But we have to look at it from the coach's perspective. Coaches are looking for someone who's going to be a good fit, not only for their team, but for the school. And coaches' recruiting budgets outside of, your Big Ten, your SEC, things like that, are relatively small. And their recruiting budgets cover things like them traveling to see high school athletes play.
Right.
Cost of gas, the cost of the ticket to get in, an overnight stay, hotel, food,
Wow.
that type of stuff.
A lot of overhead for these coaches.
A lot of overhead. And so they're pretty selective about when they're going to come to a game. So just because you're a great athlete, you may have no intentions of ever stepping foot on that campus. And they may not have a major that you're interested in taking. So it would be a waste of time for the coach to come and see you play because it's not a good fit. So they're a little bit more selective on how they handle that. They are waiting to hear from you, and they want to hear from the students. And let me tell you, coaches, schools can always tell when there is a parent involved in the email. Recently, a student sent me an email, and he said, oh, is this okay to send to the coach? And it mentioned him having one of his fondest memories. I don't know any 17-year-old boys using the words fondest memories. So he admitted later that his mom had written it to get him off of dead center. So we stepped in and we changed that. But it's really important for students to advertise themselves. It's really important for them to make contact with the coach, for them to express an interest in the school and the major they're planning to take. Because the coach wants to know that the school is actually a good fit for them. It's very important that kids keep contacting the school. They're not going to get a response. They are going to have to really just do it in blind faith that the coach is reading their emails, and when the time is right, the coach is going to turn around and respond.
And they have to keep that working and continue to put their name out there and put their face out there.
Absolutely.
Like if you're getting a job or trying to make a sale, as a parent, I think that's something we can all relate to.
Well, and it's funny because I tell kids, I'll ask, have you ever heard of Morton's or Ruth Chris? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, have you heard of McDonald's? Yeah. That's because every 45 seconds there's a commercial for McDonald's.
Right.
Of course we know it. The food at Morton's or at Ruth's Chris is 100 times better than at McDonald's. And yet, we don't know about it. They don't need to advertise. So, students need to realize this is their opportunity to advertise themselves. College coaches aren't sitting around reading the local newspaper here either. So they don't know that you've done all of this. So you need to get in touch, be in touch. Parents, you need to take your students on college visits, even before they've heard from the coach. A lot of times parents will say, well, we're going to wait and see if the coach shows interest first. That's the wrong approach.
It's like waiting to make the first move. Just
Right.
go out and say, hey, I'm here.
Right, exactly. Set up a visit with the coach. Talk to the coach. We provide questions so that students know what to ask. And parents, I know you have a lot of questions you're going to want to ask, but the coach needs to see that they can have a relationship with your child. So let your child do the talking. And it is not okay, prepare your child in advance, it is not okay for them to say, yeah, no, you've answered all my questions. No, I don't have any questions when the coach asks if they have questions.
They have to have questions.
They have to have questions.
It's like
yes.
a job interview, and it's hard to come up with
is.
those questions. And even when you're preparing for them, it's hard to come up with them still. So that's where college recruiting specialists can kind of jump in and help
Absolutely.
that student ask the right questions for that student, not necessarily a question that a mother would ask or a father would ask, right?
Exactly. And it's a complete process that everyone needs to be aware of. What are the important things that you need to talk about?
So thank you so much, Kelly, for telling us about what it really takes to get your child who wants to continue their sport to a college where they can do so in the right way.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's really a process, and as a former high school soccer coach, I really am passionate about letting students have that opportunity to continue to play.
Yeah, and create that relationship with their coach, and the coaches at all the potential schools they may want to see, to be able to, find that right school for their sport.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kelly. And guys, if you have a child who's doing a sport and may want to continue it in college or in their future, get linked up with college recruiting specialists now, because pre-planning is the best way to stay ahead. You can visit them at collegerecruitingspecialists.com. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.